panel. Everyone sitting here to my left has just had their first novel released, and I'm Amy Wallen, and my first novel, Moon Pies and Movie Stars, was just released in 2007, and my paperback just came out this summer. And I'm really excited to get to moderate the first fiction panel, because all the first fiction panels I've moderated, the authors are so excited, because this is a time in the life of an author that's probably close to being the best time of their life, maybe, unless they happen to win the Pulitzer or something. But it's the time of life when you get to have the moment that's like that you've always either you believed in it, or maybe you thought it never would happen, or it's everything you dreamed of. It's just this amazing moment, and it seems very surreal, and it seems like it's happening but not happening, and it's happening too fast. You don't want it to slow down, but you want it to hurry up and be over, so that you can also know what it was like, and you can look back and say, oh look, I was a published author, or I am a published author, and you can start living the life of a published author, which means basically you go back home and start writing again just like you were before. But actually this it is a great time, and maybe you guys can't see it from here, but I can feel this vibration on the table. Everyone in this panel is very giddy right now about being a first-time published author. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what it's to be a first-time published author, and I want to get a little bit about how each wrote their book and how they got it published and how diverse their stories are. But we're going to start off I'll give a little brief introduction of each one of them, and as I do, because they are first-time writers or first-time authors, I am going to ask them to just read a brief little bit of their books, so that you get a flavor for what their book sounds like, especially coming from their own voice. And it may be the very first time many of you have ever heard from them. After we do introductions, I'm going to be asking some questions from the authors, and then I'm going to open it up, and you guys can ask some questions as well. So start thinking of some good tough questions for these guys. They've been on book tours, so they're worn out, and they're going to give you lots of good questions and give them something new to hear. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to start with David Fuller, who's at the, and of course we're going to want to know about the sexual stuff too. Let's hear from Peter Balaskas. He's the author of The Grandmaster. Peter started out as an NBC page for The Tonight Show. It's Hollywood panel here. He also went to Loyola Marymount and studied creative writing and literature. Maybe you guys know each other? Yeah? You do? All right. But before, he studied for his BS in chemistry. All right, good turn there. You probably would have made more money in chemistry. The Grandmaster is a supernatural thriller that takes place during the Holocaust. Is it Johann Wagner? Is that how you... Wagner? All right. Of the Wagner Institute for Mental Treatment and Investigations, has paranormal and supernatural powers. He has stifled his memories of the Holocaust using these powers. But then something changes, and he can no longer keep them suppressed. Give us a 5-minute excerpt, David. Oh, I'm sorry, Peter. All right.
For a second there, I thought I was losing it there. Okay. Let's see.
Sure, just give us a little
yeah, it's like right in the middle
preface
of the book.
of what you're...
Yeah, thank you. As Amy pointed out, Johann Wagner possesses paranormal powers. He's a physician, and this is his journal. And during the time he was a labor camp survivor, he, instead of escaping from the camp, he used his powers to physically and most significantly spiritually heal his fellow prisoners. But then all of a sudden his powers are taken away, and he doesn't know why, and he feels empty and cold inside, like a spiritual form of amputation. And he feels quite helpless, and to make matters worse, he meets the new commandant of the camp. As I kept the tremors at bay, I arrived in his office, and my fear was replaced with curious interest. Reinhardt turned his barracks into a comfortable office. There was no carpeting, and the walls were a dull gray, but the large desk was made from oak, with a stone black name placard on the front with ivory white lettering, Karl Reinhardt, Commandant. The pictures on the walls were professionally framed, and the painted landscapes were something to envy. He had an actual bed, not a small narrow bunk. There was a full bar next to the left wall, and his lamps were ornate with exquisite lampshades, never showing any indication of gaudiness, only sophistication. In front of his desk were 2 leather chairs, smaller versions of the large revolving one which he sat in. It seemed to fit his muscular stature perfectly, as if it were tailor-made for him. To his right was a phonograph, and to his left was a small table where a beautiful chessboard was placed, with black and clear glass chess pieces complementing the set perfectly. The chess set radiated, reflecting the lamplight from its polished surface, beckoning me to play a game. Oh, how my heart ached. But the record he was playing was from the Rheingold, the first opera of Wagner's Ring series. My longing turned into anger. What right did he have to possess such beautiful items? It was bad enough that the Nazi Party had used my grandfather's beautiful music for their perverse hate campaign. But the fact that this man was playing it right in front of one who loves Wagner's music made me want to scream. To flaunt that chess set in my face. But I knew Reinhardt was unaware of my passions. After all, I was only an insignificant Jew. He finished his paperwork, set it aside, and looked up at me. Upon closer examination, the colonel definitely resembled a boxer. His nose was broken, but not malformed. The injury added distinction to his face. He also didn't look like a typical Aryan. His eyes were a dark brown, and his trimmed, straight hair was black as night. He studied me for a few moments, and then turned to the guard. "I'll be fine. You're dismissed." As the guard left us alone, he brought his attention back to me. I am very interested in the fact that one of the reasons why productivity is so high here is because your skills as a doctor are unmatched. I looked at your firehead, doctor. Very impressive. But judging from the look on your face, you might have a question or two to ask me. Please, feel free. I stood in complete attention in front of him with my cap off, listening to him with an utmost regard for his authority. I have to admit my confusion was increased. He now referred to me by my name and not my number. He was giving me permission to talk. He communicated to me like a human being. What is this all about, I thought. Then an answer came to me as I looked at his face. I felt a shiver quiver up my spine, throughout my entire body. My anxiety, my pain, my loss of powers. I whispered, "How did I take away your powers?" Yes, good question. He then displayed a small smile. There was no sign of malevolence or wickedness at all within that grin. It was one of understanding, even sympathy. Only a truly evil man can believably smile like that, which frightened me even more. Head doctor, did you actually believe that you were the only person in the entire world to possess supernatural gifts?
Right, Peter, you should do the audio version of your book.
Knock on wood.
Good reading. Yeah, that'd be great. Selvin Edwards, who's the author of The Little Book, which is not so little of a book.